CP taking an L before he even steps on the floor. As you see the Rockets enter Oracle Arena on the Sunday evening. A lot of people feel Game 3 the biggest in a series. The chef back home, would he get right on his own floor? Right away, Golden State's defensive intensity turned up for this answer game. Iguodala on the break. Yeah, you got to shoot that one, right? Golden State dared other Rockets to score, and it's lunch pail Looney putting Luke on his butt. Draymond pushing it out in transition. You know what he's going to do? He's going to drop a dime. How about Clay finishing at the rim? Finishing so well these playoffs going to the basket. And you know the true calling card of this team, defense translating to offense. This time it's Livingston on the break to Iguodala. You know he's going to make the extra pass. This time it's Swaggy. Straight cash open in the corner. Golden State rebounded from a rough first few minutes of this game. Second quarter, it's this man in the rocker step. There's nothing you can do. KD kind of waiting his time here. Not as much iso ball, but when it was time for it, you know what he did. As time winds down in the half, KD, how about getting in his bag, showing off the 7-foot Kyrie finish? As the Warriors kept them at arm's length for most of the first half, D'Antoni looking distraught on the road. Third quarter, it finally happened, y'all. Steph got it going. And it wasn't the outside shot. It was bucket after bucket at the rim is what really got him going. And then finally 30 from the Oracle logo. And you could almost hear 20,000 people simultaneously breathe a sigh of relief as that 3-ball went down, and it was on from there. He's like, the release so fluffy, the whole town love me. They say Sunday's a day for cooking, and that's what the chef did on this Sunday evening. And not only could you feel the energy in the arena, but you could also feel the morale sap out of the Houston Rockets as they started to realize what they faced as this man started to get going. The outside shot going, how about the floater at the rim? No shot blocking presence for the Houston Rockets. Riley's like, finally, fourth quarter, extendo garbage time, and Harden's playing defense like it's the Drew League in May. S-Dot, in and out, behind the back, dance on him, take another look at it. That's just too easy. But the Dubs weren't done, man. This was a bit of a statement here late. Once the chef was going, why not let him continue to cook? And that's what he would do, continuing to get where he wanted on the floor, finishing in a variety of ways as the Houston Rockets end up getting handed their worst playoff defeat in the history of their franchise. Steph with 35 on the night as the Warriors answer in Game 3 in emphatic fashion. Okay. So I sit down, getting ready for this game. Didn't it feel a little weird that it was a Sunday evening? You're used to these like noon starts on the weekends, right? And so I was kind of waiting, anticipating the game. Got on my Steph shirt, waiting for the blow up, man. And real quick, go check out Hooper Nation shop. Get custom original gear. See, the thing is, I got my animation Steph on right here, right? But, you know, it's one thing, when everybody has a Curry jersey. Everybody has like the generic team shop stuff. So if you want some original artwork in Warriors gear, go check out Hooper Nation shop. You can use a special promo code Alchemy10 for 2 days only and get some custom stuff to rep through the rest of these playoffs, the finals, and all that good stuff. All right, let's get back to this game. So initially, the first 2 minutes, I won't even lie to y'all. I was like, yo, get this nigga out the game. And I'm talking about Steph Curry, right? Those first 2 minutes on the possessions, the switch back, Ariza was coasting in for layups. And I was like, man, it was a rough start, right? But it eventually, they righted the wrong, the timeout, and they got on and looked like we expected them to look, right? But I think early on, what was happening was everybody was very conscious one of KD in the iso ball. So KD was deferring, right? And then everybody else is also aware that they want to get Steph going. And it was kind of throwing things off. Guys were a little bit forcing them. I won't say forcing it to Steph, but it was a lot of off-ball stuff, and some of the extra passes weren't probably necessary, right? And then I had talked about the rotational change and could we see somebody? And I think what Kerr's original plan was to just shorten the rotation. If you noticed, what the change was Steph went out in the end of the first quarter, KD stayed in, and then Steph came in to start the second quarter. And I think that's what Kerr's plan was until Looney, what did he get, his third foul, I believe, right? There was some suspect touch calls early on in this game. And then so all of a sudden we get to welcome Jordan Bell to this series. Welcome Jordan Bell, rookie really, to the playoffs. His first real meaningful minutes we've all been waiting for this moment. And he held his own, right? He got a steal. He was active. He stayed down. And he had, like I said, man, he belongs. He belongs at least in this series. And so I thought that that's a real positive moving forward to add another player to the rotation, even if it was by accident, Kerr, because I don't know if he was actually planning to do that. And we were all waiting for Steph at the half, right? I went live on my Patreon and we're asking, what's going on? I thought there was a little bit of a lack of high screen and roll for him. I thought that's what they would default to. We didn't really see it, but we saw the layups. And we've seen throughout the series, the one positive for him offensively has been, he looks really good going to the hoop. He seems like he just is finishing better with the left hand, the flip shots. He's not getting all the way there, and he's really kind of neutralized Capella as a shot blocker, right? And so now Houston has a real problem. We were all waiting for the chef to unveil himself, and he did in that third quarter. What do you have, 26 second half points, and really just finished out the game for them early. But Houston has a real problem for several reasons. Because one, now that the shot is falling, he has maybe more confidence we've ever seen going to the rim. So now what do you do? Right? They've been crowding him. They're like, we're not going to let you get the three. He's doing that. Now he's got both things working, presumably going in through the rest of this series. And then the other thing is he's going to regain his gravity. And so, Clay is, he's licking his chops. KD, who kind of deferred a little bit in this game, right? It's going to open everything else. The gravity is going to shift off of Durant back to Steph. Naturally. It doesn't matter if it's coaching or not. That's just what's going to have to happen. And that's why you call this a super team. It's pick your poison. And when it starts to click on all cylinders. So that's, if you're a Rockets fan or just the Rockets as a team, that's the problem that's presented in front of you now with Steph Curry looking like Steph Curry, right? I will say, I think Chris Paul looked hampered. He really did. He didn't seem to be moving well. He shot a terrible percentage. And he looks like, they're being very Belichick about the injury, right? We just know it's like a calf strain, or I don't even know what they're officially listing it. But all I know is he didn't seem to be moving right. And Harden did late in playoff Harden type of things, right? And I should ease up, right? Because he'll probably explode in the next game. But he just really wasn't the effort you want to see from the MVP. Even Reggie Miller kind of called him out. And what you saw was they only shot 39% from the field, 32% from three-point line. Golden State's defense showed up. And those of you that have watched them through this era know that that's where it begins, right? The defense translates into the offense. And so their defense was there from the start. The shortened rotation, or Bell out there, not having West out there guarding the three-point line, and it was on point. And you saw what they were doing. They were forcing them into layups. And this team just doesn't finish well at the rim. Chris Paul at this point in his career, he doesn't even want to get there. Harden, follow the Harden rules, right? I mean, it's the lesser of evils, and you saw that in this game. And then Trevor Ariza, man, he looks like he has a loaf in his pants. Like Ariza, I remember him on the Lakers teams. He used to be an athletic cat, but Father Time is undefeated, and he really, you can see how plodding and how much of a lack of explosion he has when he's headed downhill. And he missed a couple. We already have covered Mahamute. I got it out. His struggles at the rim. And so they were just missing some point blank shots. But I think it, again, was by design, running them off the 3-point line. Now, all this sounds very good, right? And if you're a Warriors fan, this couldn't have gone any better. All that said, Game 4 is really ultimately the knockout punch. What did Draymond say? We've allowed one of those slip-up games per round, and we've already had ours. And I hope that's the case, because if it pans out as projected, right? You win Game 4 at Oracle. Game 5 is going to be that game where you probably would check it as a loss. Houston's going to win that. And then Game 6 would be the finish out. You do not want to go to Houston for a Game 7. Hell, you want to finish out in 5 if you can. But my point is that this Game 4 game really would be the knockout punch. Because you say, okay, Houston will probably get Game 5. There's no way they're winning Game 6 at Oracle. That's the way I think big picture you look at it. Now, Andre Iguodala, I've already mentioned this. Draymond was selective. I don't know how many shot attempts he had. And how many times can Clint Capella go over Draymond's back? I mean, damn. I don't know why he gets away with it so much, but he does. But Iguodala, he probably passed up 5 open shots in this game. And it just frustrates me because, and I think KD even called him out. It was the end of a quarter, I believe. KD was like, damn, man, why? He tried to get it to Bell on the baseline. Bell wasn't ready for it. Iguodala shoots your shot. And it looked like his knee, Harden, if you watched, he was retreating defensively later in the game. Harden kind of went down on his knee buckled, and he stayed behind. He stayed in the game, but they got him out and he didn't return. So that's something to monitor, obviously. But the one thing I want to shout out is, let's say Iggs chipped up. Sean came down gingerly too after that little in and out behind the back on Harden. I hope that makes his MVP clip. I'm going at him. I am. But he came down gingerly as well. One thing I want to shout out is Nick Young, man. because, again, styles make fights, and the ISO ball has really allowed him to stay on the floor defensively. But you see it. When he's on ball, he's a solid defender. He's strong enough where he's absorbing the bumps of Paul and Harden, and then he's moving his feet, and I think that you can't discount the familiarity factor. I don't know if he would look this good against Scary Terry, right, or somebody else that he's not as familiar with. Chris Paul, James Harden, all these dudes are on that LA circuit, and I can guarantee you Nick Young has played against Harden and Paul for 10 plus years. So that helps as well. But I want to shout him out for digging in and doing that and contributing in this series legitly. I was wrong. So, I think game 4, what is a must win? I don't want to call it technically, but I think that is the ultimate knockout punch. So I want to see them treat that as such. And then game 5, if I'm a betting man, like if I'm on Boom Called It, game 5, I'm taking Houston, right? Okay. And then game 6, like most of us predicted, would be the closeout moving into the finals. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.